Today I'm talking about not being a sellout and to maintain your independence, particularly if you're going to embark on some kind of creative enterprise. And these principles can apply to just about anything, even a relationship you might be entering into. This is the non-negotiable terms which allow you to be free to express yourself if it comes from a clear intention of expressing what's already in you. And you become an independent content creator, an independent thinker, an independent person who marches to the beat of his own drummer. You cut out the middleman and the top man. And you just express for reasons that are hard to understand. But I hope that I can explain not being a sellout. To be a sellout would be to do it because you think you have to. To do it because you think it would be good for your career. To do it because your audience wants it. To do it for a like or a subscription or a shout out of some kind or a promotion. Or to do it because it somehow boosts your message. When all you're doing is boosting your mood in the first place, right? Why else create if it doesn't boost your mood? Or in some way admonish or help you? I don't know why I started a YouTube channel. But since I have, I've realized that I am my number one fan. Because the words I speak come from a very deep place in me, which are admonishing and teaching the flesh in me. See, you have to understand that you are both the teacher and the student. You are both the performer and the audience if you are going to be a musician of some kind. And if you're a visual artist, you're going to be the painter and the critic, or the painter and the audience, whatever it is. But there is something in you that wants to be released. And places like YouTube and WordPress and Amazon KDP, where I freely express my independent thoughts, I have found to be extremely fulfilling. Even if no one reads it, buys it, clicks on it, subscribes to it, or responds to it. That's independence. If you were to go the traditional route and say apply for a TED Talk, for example, to get your message out, then all of a sudden you've become a servant to a master of selectivity. Now you're serving competition and you're going to tailor your message to compete with other people. And see, that's non-negotiable for me. My message is non-competitive. Of course, the ego would say, well, you must be independently wealthy. You don't need the money. You don't need the subscriptions or the likes or anything extrinsic. And nobody does. If you are going to create content for an audience, you now have a master that is going to enslave you, because if you write for everyone, you write for no one. But if you write for yourself, you write for everybody. The audience is not necessarily good at picking what they want. The audience is good at resonating with people who are honest. And they don't quite understand that what draws people to you is simply an honest expression. Which begs the question, why express? Because as you express from a deeper place in you, let's call it authenticity or honesty, you become a recipient of healing. You become a recipient of joy, a recipient of love. When you develop a skill, say like music or any kind of creative enterprise, you're boosted just in this perpetual productivity. And you're not really concerned about the outcome. However, the outcome, when you're not overly concerned with it, the outcome has healing properties and surprising goodness. For example, I go back and watch all of my videos and think to myself, I like what this guy says. I should write it down. I read my own writings and sometimes think, that's a good quote. Somebody should write that down. So you begin to surprise yourself and you begin to enliven yourself in this self-sustaining, encapsulated, full way. So you're creating from a sense of fullness. How do we do this? This is puzzling to me because a lot of people believe they have to create to earn money. And that's a means to an end kind of creation. And then now you've got a master. So Jesus said we can't serve two masters. And what he meant by that is you cannot serve the extrinsic need. You can't write for your audience. You cannot tailor your videos and your content to your audience, and nor can you do the same thing for your publisher. That's the tyranny of the publishing industry. They're going to make you want to tailor your work for the highest profits, and that's selling out. Selling out is for the highest bidder. You can have my creative content as long as you're willing to pay the most for it. A true creator is completely unbound by fiscal need, the approval of their peers, or any other kind of feedback. So I don't believe I've ever asked for a subscription or a like or anything. And that's important if you've watched so far into the video, is that to keep your needs silent. I don't care if you have major financial needs, you to keep them silent, to prove to yourself that you are connected. And the words and the creative impulse is coming from the same place that's also creating the perceived physical needs. So you're fine. Your needs are known. So the resourcefulness is an infinite flow of ideas that just keeps coming from you. And what is a byproduct of that? Recognition. An audience that builds up organically. You don't even have to promote yourself if your content is from the heart. And it has never been easier to produce your own material without needing a fancy label. I have no makeup on. I'm just sitting here. I have a little cheap microphone and a computer, and I just go. And I would encourage anybody to just go. And it's like dancing. At first, you're kind of like, everybody's watching. But then you let yourself go. And as Madonna says, you let your body move to the music. See, that's effortlessness. When the inhibition melts, you are suddenly aware that no one is watching. And so, true creation is having fun in public, having childlike fun for the masses. And there's a little wink and a nod with that. There's some raw sort of vulnerability that people don't want to necessarily expose. And when you do expose that, when you're free to be able to express that, the inhibition melts and the firewall of the ego is dismantled. And what happens is The judge in you disappears. I don't judge my videos. I don't have a judge anymore. Someone might say, well, you should. But it's that judgelessness that we're talking about, which is a way of seeing yourself from an aloof observation deck. That there's no more personal responsibility or judgment in the products, in the presentation. If you are consumed with how people are, if you're consumed with how is this going to come across, then you're one of those awkward people on the dance floor that is completely and painfully aware of themselves. And the sellout compromises that freedom. I mean, haven't you gone ape shit listening to high energy music, dancing like a fool, not drinking? See, drinking is a chemical way of bringing out or destroying inhibition, but then you become an idiot. Inhibition, when it's destroyed in the right way, leaves you uninhibited but highly intelligent and aware at the same time. Your sensibilities aren't lessened because you're not drunk. If you pay attention to when you have a buzz, you don't care as much. But then you say stupid things. What if you could have that inhibition, lower that perception that people are watching, but yet be highly intelligent? Well, you would have discovered the secret of not being a sellout. Someone who can detach from the need for how it comes across, how it's responded to, how it's received. That's because my teachings are not gifts to you. They are gifts to me, coming from me. And I find them helpful, nourishing, satisfying, and fulfilling. And the reason why I share my stuff is because I'm healed by my own teaching. I'm healed by my own words. And I found them to be very helpful to me. How can I keep them to myself? They're not mine as the personal entity. They are everybody's. Now that's a roundabout way of saying if you can express from the Spirit, your ego will step aside. If the judge in you can be gone in the same way that you can be gone when you're listening to some high intensity music and your body takes over and just goes, you will have discovered the wonderful thing called effortlessness. And Alan Watts talks about trying to sink is the thing that keeps you afloat. If you're in water and you're thrashing around, that's what makes you sink. Trying to sink is what makes you float. Giving way to the water, giving way to the music, giving way to the Spirit that wants to speak something, create something, do something through you, for you, and as you. That's selfless creation. It's non-negotiable. It's independent. It's free. There's no middleman. There's no top man. There's no bottom man. There's no man at all. It's the most impersonal, free, and liberating way to create. Because you don't have anybody telling you, well, that's not what your audience wants to hear. A true independent artist or creator doesn't give a rat's ass what the audience wants to hear. The ego takes great offense to that. But that's exactly what we want to do, offend the ego. And enhance the independence of the Spirit, which creates without encumbrance, expresses without encumbrance, and without any regard for how it is received or how it comes across. The message is unfiltered. The lesson is love, blind, self-effacing, and unconditional. Anything else is a sellout. My name is Ryan. I hope that you enjoyed these insights. Please check in often. Check out my blog, mymorningmotivator.com, or one of my books on Amazon, which are independently written, without publisher, just an expression of who I am. And I hope that you enjoyed these messages, and we'll see you next time.